Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's wonderful to have you all with us on another Shabbat, quarantine Shabbat. And so glad that so many of you will join us tonight in prayer and song to remind each other that we're not alone during this time. So tonight, I've got a few new things that I thought I'd bring in. A couple new tunes, or rather older tunes, but different tunes for certain prayers, just to mix it up a little bit. And then I've got some really specific prayers in regards to the pandemic that we'll say throughout this service to keep us in mind. As much as I love a great deal of our liturgy, there's so much to be spoken about right now, and there's such beautiful poetry and liturgy being written in regards to this. So I think instead of keeping it out, we'll bring it in. So, but that being said, let's clear our heads and clear our minds, clear the rest of the week away, and enjoy a little bit of eternity. There's a song on the wind and a joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived, scattering the song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a name. And eternity utters a name. There's a song on the wind and a joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived, scattering the song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a name. And eternity utters a name. A blessing for washing hands during a pandemic. As we wash our hands, we pray, blessed is the soul of the universe, breathing us in and breathing us out. May our breaths continue and our health and the health of all be preserved. In this time of sickness and fear of sickness, holy wholeness, we take as much responsibility for it as we can by observing the obligation to wash our hands, using lots of soap and hot water thoroughly for as long as it takes to say this prayer. Amen. Well, friends, let us bring light and warmth into this sanctuary and into your homes. If you haven't yet lit your Shabbat candles, please feel free to do it with us. We will light them and then sing the blessing. So if you've got your Shabbat candles, let's light them together as one community. If you've got your candles lit in front of you, feeling the warmth and light of Shabbat entering your homes, let's pray together. Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitsham v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Let's take a moment to remind each other that we are all here. So if you are on YouTube, type it in. If you are on Facebook, same thing. Let's say Shabbat Shalom to one another. Wish each other a good Shabbos, a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom from me and the Harvey family. Know that all of us wishing each other Shabbat Shalom. We are not alone. All of our friends are with us, our members, our guests. We are together here virtually. Our community is still here and still wishing peace upon one another. A prayer on anxiety. Adonai, you abide through all things change. I am anxious and fearful, and I turn my heart to you, looking to you and leaning on your strength. It is written, blessed is the one whose strength is in you. Bless us now with faith and courage. Help us to feel that you are with us, steadying and sustaining us with the assurance that we are loved. Be with us and bring us hope, that in the days to come our aspirations may be fulfilled for our good and the good of those we love depend on us. Banish our fears with the sense that you are always present to uphold and sustain us. As it is written, have no fear, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with the power of my righteousness. We say, Amen. With those words, we come together with our words of L'cha Dodi, welcoming the Shabbat bride into our midst, into our homes. Chatter going on. Make sure everything's good on my end. Ah, yes, good. Just people saying Shabbat Shalom. Wonderful. You know, sometimes you guys can let me know something's wrong, so it's good. Let's join together, friends, with the words of Baruch Hu, our call to prayer. These words which remind us that we have to get into the right zone to pray. We can't just jump into it. That's why there's Kabbalat Shabbat, which leads up to it. And then the Baruch Hu reminds us, we have to check in with ourselves and say, are we ready to do this? Are we ready to have tefillah, to pray together, to be together? Are we in the right headspace to do that? And so that's what the Baruch Hu is a little check-in for all of us. So we join together with these words. Come to the words, roll into dark, which is our interpretation of Ma'ariv Aravim, blessing God for creating the evening and rolling darkness into light and light into darkness, that transition. We sing together these words, blessing God for creating evening, Ma'ariv Aravim. Light becomes day turns to night. The prayer Ahavat Olam is all about God's love. And so there's a beautiful little piyut here, this prayer that's been written about God's love. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love, embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Let's join together in these words of the watchword of our faith, our declaration of monotheism. Tonight I chose the Debbie Friedman, which we haven't done in a while. This is the tune that we sing our children to bed. This is for our bedtime Shema, of the Shema here. So as my children hopefully are drifting off to sleep at home, and your children are going to bed soon, those who have children, hopefully this brings comfort as well. And for the rest of us, we embrace these beautiful words that declare us proudly as Jews. Israel, Adonai, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, and with all thy mind. And these words which I command you on this day shall be on thy heart, shall be on thy heart. Thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. Thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and when thou risest up, thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand. It shall be for frontlets between thine eyes. Thou shall write them on the doorposts of thy heart, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates. May remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. Let's sing together the words of Micha Mocha, reminding one another that we are all standing on those parted shores together, and that we cannot cross through without one another, and that freedom from this virus is on the other side of the Sea of Reeds, and the sea will part when it is to part. In the meantime, we stand at that shore, waiting for the seas to part, waiting to sing the song of freedom. So since the coronavirus has begun and we've started to do these virtual services Fridays and Saturdays, certain prayers have really stood out to me about in terms of importance, how things can be so meaningful up to us when things occur in our world. It's just like the Torah, when we open up the Torah every year, we're different. The words aren't different, but we are. And when we sing words like Hashkivenu, one day they might mean something completely different than they mean today. But to ask God that we all can lie down tonight in peace, raise up to a life renewed tomorrow with our guardian, asking God to spread over us a shelter of peace. Well, I think it's extremely pertinent that we pray for the whole world to be sheltered, not just from the virus, but all the effects as well, financial and economic, mental, physical, spiritual. We ask God to extend that Sukkot Shalom, the shelter of peace, over all in need. And tonight, just to reinforce that, I thought I'd sing the Hashkivenu and then the bracha at the bottom, the Sukkot Shalom bracha. So we'll do both tonight. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom Shalom. There are days of rain Salem Sukachlomerkam, for Salem Sukachlomerkam. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wing, O Adonai. Guard us from all harm, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake the morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen. Before we begin our tefillah, our Amidah, we give a prayer for medical scientists. God of wisdom, bless medical scientists and researchers around the world with insight and skill, dedication and fortitude as they combat coronavirus, so that their work yields knowledge and understanding, speedily finding a vaccine, treatments, and deterrents to its spread. Source of life, grant public health and government officials the strength to act swiftly and decisively, with compassion and understanding, in service to humankind, fighting this outbreak and other diseases that still plague the planet. Diseases threatening the lives of our brothers and sisters, nations and communities, young and old. Rock of ages, bring an end to disease and suffering, so that all may know your compassion and your grace. Baruch atah Adonai rofeh kol basar mafila asot. Praised are you, God, healer of flesh, making wonders. We join together for our Amidah. Join together on the next page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Gadol Hagibor Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Yaakov וזוכר חסדי אבותיהם ומביא כולה לפני בניהם למען שבו ביחד מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Bless God for the ancestors, and now we move to bless God for God's strength and power. Adonai Elohim Adonai Mechaye Hakol Torah Lechoshia Mori Hata Mechalkel Chaim V'Chesed Mechaye Hakol Somech V'Tovim Umatir Rashulim Mechaye Natom We bless God for God's holiness. Atakadosh, Vashimakadosh, Doshim Bechoyim Halaluka Selah, Arunata Adonai, Ahel HaKadosh. For our prayer for peace, words of Shalom Rav, we offer a prayer for those who help. May the one who blessed and led our forebears give countenance upon those who provide help for the ill and troubled among us. May they be filled with fortitude and courage, endowed with sympathy and compassion, as they give strength to those at their side. May they fight against despair and continue to find within themselves the will to reach out to those in need. And in their love of others, may they feel the blessing of community and the blessing of renewed faith. We offer a prayer for peace for the whole world. Shalom Raham Yisraelam Yasim Shalom Raham Yisraelam Yasim Ki ata melech adon lekol ha'shalom Shalom Raham Yisraelam Shalom Raham Yisraelam Shalom Raham Israel Asi. Shalom Raham Israel Asi. As we come to the most important prayer that we will say tonight, the words of Mishaberach, we offer prayer not only for those in our community who are struggling, but also those who are in need of healing from coronavirus. Here at Temple Israel, we give thought and ask for our refuah shlema, a full and complete healing for Jason Beckner, Chuck Bogard, Eileen Goss, Harry Herschel, Harriet Morrison, Michael Mund, Sandy Perlman, and Sharon Tallis. To those names, we invite you to write any other names. If comfortable, write them via YouTube or on Facebook. Of any names you'd like us to think about as we continue with Mishaberach. If you feel comfortable, please feel free to add a name, and you can type it right in. Great. Keeping all those names in our hearts. Think of those also who are suffering from coronavirus. Source of healing, cast the light of health and well-being on those who have been exposed to coronavirus, those who have contracted the disease, and those, God forbid, who contract the disease in the future. Bless them, protect them, and bring them speedily to full recovery. Bless all who are ill with healing of body, healing of soul, and healing of spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Mekor Chayim, blessed are you, the source of life. We offer the words of Mishaberach for all those in need tonight. Mishaberach Avoti, Avraham, Yitzhak, V'Yaakov. Mishaberach Imotei, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mishaberach Avoti, Mishaberach Imoti. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Wonderful to see you all. There's a phrase in my house that comes up multiple times a day. When the virus goes away. Typically, it's being said by my 5-year-old. When the virus goes away, I can go back to preschool. When the virus goes away, I can have a real birthday party. When the virus goes away, we can go to the Children's Museum. I've spent a great deal of time this week reflecting on those words, when the virus goes away. So recently there's been an uptick in the number of people fighting against the impositions placed by the virus. They are resisting quarantines and stay-at-home orders, refusing to wear masks, refusing to social distance, and even engaging in protests to reopen businesses in the face of a troubling economic situation. In Michigan, thousands of people engaged in Operation Gridlock, tying up traffic near the Capitol, despite their COVID-19 numbers going up. In Kentucky, over 100 protesters chanted, "We want to work," and "Facts over fear," despite the 2,200, almost 2,300 cases in Kentucky so far. A troubling picture of over 100 protesters close together banging on the State House door in Ohio recently surfaced, with protesters questioning the governor, asking, doesn't he believe in less government, small government? In Utah, protests were similar, claiming the stay-at-home orders for health and safety were a, quote, government mandate and, quote, restrictions taking away our rights. We see similar protests and claims in North Carolina, Virginia, and elsewhere. People are getting fed up. In a situation where thousands are infected and dying, people of all ages, as this terrible pandemic runs loose through our nation, instead of focusing on health and safety, the protesters are speaking words that seem so empty. Like, you have to do what's best for your business. People are accusing their government officials who are attempting to save their lives of going too far with restrictions on everyday activities. At face value, it'd be pretty easy for me to roll my eyes at these people, to throw around phrases like people over profit. But then I think about what my son is hoping for when the virus goes away. Preschool classes, birthday party, a trip to a museum. He hopes the virus goes away so that life can be fun again. If that isn't privilege, I don't know what is. My family is lucky, and that thus far, Barry and I still have jobs. We also have childcare, so that we can do those jobs without simultaneously having to watch our children. No one that we know directly has fallen ill with the coronavirus. And likewise, many of our friends and acquaintances are in a similar situation. I found it ironic then in the last week when I saw so many memes going around mocking people for even discussing reopening the economy, as if the mere mention, even the wishful thinking of our government officials was a death call to thousands of Americans. I was pretty disappointed. There are, of course, too many Americans who remain uninformed about the true dangers of COVID-19, and there are too many clergy who believe that their flock, their congregation, will be sheltered by God's goodwill. I could certainly do without these people myself, because they truly put the people who put their trust in them at risk. But I would caution us from going down the slippery slope that those who talk about reopening the economy are putting profits over people, or that they just don't care about the facts of science. Because so many of the people chastising and screaming down the minority, talking about a time after COVID, are people like me, who say things like, when the virus goes away, I can go on date nights again. Or I can finally dye my hair. That's my wife speaking. Or I won't have to entertain my kids all day. But what about everyone else? There's another narrative happening in this country, a narrative that is summed up by the news and unemployment application numbers and quick shots of cars lined up for the food bank. When the virus goes away, maybe my dad will get his job back. Maybe we'll have money to buy food. When the virus goes away, I hope my child won't have fallen too far behind his peers, and maybe we will feel safe or secure. Across the country and within our own county, we've seen unbelievable acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion, trying to support those among us who face these struggles. Most of them, like us, want everyone who can stay home to stay safe and save lives. But whereas the media and our politicians, as is so often the case in this country, are swept by an either-or mentality, either we save lives or we open the economy, I'd urge us all to remember that situations like this are never that simple. To be honest, I'm grateful not to be in the position of having to decide when to reopen the economy. I pray for our leaders who need to weigh physical health with human suffering. I also pray for all of us. I pray that we can end these memes. I pray that we can end all the straw man arguments. Despite the continued tragedy that COVID leaves in its wake, we've seen some glimmers of hope. Stay-at-home orders across the globe have begun to heal the planet. The virus and all its viciousness has undone, in only a few months, decades and decades of human damage. It's truly something. What will we learn from it? For now, we cannot stop this virus. We can try to mitigate it, to delay it. What we can stop is the bickering, the misinformation, the unfounded accusations. What we need in this country, what we have always needed, are serious, thoughtful conversations about what the most moral, the most ethical move is. If we do that, then we can ensure the most vulnerable among us are protected. The most frightened among us are comforted. The most uninformed among us are educated. Because for as long as any one of us is posting memes about one understandably desperate and scared group or another, nothing of those things can be done. When the virus goes away, it's my prayer that we will be a more tolerant, a more understanding, and a more compromising people. Shabbat Shalom. Take a few moments, if you will, of silent prayer, reflection, or meditation. hear our song, break thee, break thee, if I never Adonai, sweet Adonai, sweet Ekohani. As we come to the concluding parts of our service, we give praise to God, the sovereign of the universe, and proclaim the greatness of the Creator, who spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. Therefore we bow in awe and thanksgiving before the one who is sovereign over all, the Holy and Blessed One. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Thus it has been said, Adonai will be sovereign over all the earth. On that day, Adonai will be one, and God's name shall be one. V'nema v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad. Though we are not together, we know that there are many in our community who are mourning. Those who are mourning, those who have passed in recent days, and those in years past at this season. And as we stand together virtually, we offer comfort, we mourn together for all those in need. Here at Temple Israel, we honor Dolores Fishman in her memory, in Shloshim, and the yard sites for this week. We honor these memories as well. Morris Gunsher, Stanley Kent, Ron Yerushalmi, Mildred Newman, Albert Lipp, Samuel Hain, Marvin H. Crockover, and Bessie Skadron. To those names, we add any others of those who have died in recent days or in years past at this season in our community or in each one of your communities. Please feel free to say a name. You can type it in here on YouTube or Facebook. Please feel free, if comfortable, to say a name of those you're thinking of. Names. Keep all of their names in our hearts. And we think, of course, of all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. The 6 million who died in the Shoah, and those who died defending this country in the state of Israel, and of course, we grieve those who have been taken from the coronavirus. We say together these words of the mourners' Kaddish to honor their memories and to show that we comfort one another as a community. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalah u'v'zman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almai. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'richu le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shamaya V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who brings peace to the high places bring peace over us, over all of humanity, as we say together, amen. So I have, before we end tonight, here they are, I have some announcements for us. Next week is going to be our Saturday morning service, April 25th at 10 a.m. right here. Same bad time, same bad channel. Watch your Thursday reminders on how to access it. It would be the same way you're doing it. If people are having trouble, please let us know. We can provide help so that you can get access. Once again, we're reminding people in regards to the stay-at-home policy that our office is closed. Kim is in the office from 1 to 3 on Wednesdays. You can always email me or Kim if you need something, but let's try as much as possible to reduce or remove any traffic through Temple Israel to make sure that everything is clean and sanitized. We thank the submissions, our friends from our members for Voices from Quarantine. Thank you so much for keeping us up to date on how you are doing. If you'd like to write something, please send it in. This is a way to keep us connected to one another and not feel so isolated. Send us some check-ins, some writings. Let us know how you're doing, what's new, and we'll publish it in Thursday reminders and monthly reminders so that people know that we can keep in touch with one another. The 5th episode of Torah from a Distance is up on our website and on our Facebook page. So if you'd like to continue learning for our mini-series, Messianism in Judaism, we did Messianism in Biblical Judaism, and this session was on first century Judaism, which covers the Qumranites of the Dead Sea Scrolls and also what we would call the Jesus movement, which eventually turned into Christianity. So interesting stuff. And then next week, we'll talk about Messianism that occurs in our rabbinic works, the Midrash, the Mishnah, and the Talmud. So big news, Sunday, April 19th, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., we are doing a spring cleanup day. Spring is here. It's time to make our temple beautiful. Due to CDC regulations for social distancing, we're doing time slots this year. I'd like to have 2 families time slot. Each slot is 90 minutes. This is a wonderful way to spend time as a family outdoors and have fun together. If you have questions, please contact our president, Brad Cohen. If you'd like to RSVP, email us at the temple office before Saturday. We hope to see you practicing social distancing, taking time to make sure we're being safe, but also cleaning up Temple Israel. The last thing I want to announce is that last night at the board meeting, we agreed to purchase 30 copies of Mishkan Tefillah for travelers. It's a small purple version of Mishkan Tefillah, which our members can take home with them instead of taking our big books, and we'll have you be able to follow along. There is a suggested donation if you'd like to borrow one of $10 just to help make up the cost for us having to buy these temporary or traveler Mishkan Tefillahs, but I think it's a wonderful investment for us to have here, not only for during these quarantine moments, but also we'll use them to do outside services at the sukkah or Lag BaOmer or whatever it is. So it's a great investment. Please think about donating to recoup some of that cost to make sure that during this financial time we're doing okay. And we'll let you know when they come in. And if you'd like to borrow one, we can absolutely do that. So thank you so much, friends. We hope that you stay safe. We hope that you stay healthy, and that no matter what transpires from a government level in terms of stay at home or not, please stay safe and stay healthy. Please make sure you're making the right choices. Be good. Shabbat Shalom. And we look forward to seeing you Sunday and then again on Saturday. Shabbat Shalom, friends, and be well. Good night.